Greetings in Christ. You know, images are very powerful. One of my favorite images is that just of the Nativity. I remember as a little child being brought up by my family to gaze upon the Christ child. January 6th is the traditional day of the Epiphany, or when the three kings came to visit the child Jesus and his mother Mary and Joseph. This day, then, we reflect upon the wise men and the image that they saw. What was it like to peer into that stable? Now, this day of Epiphany is actually traditionally, January 6th, and it's what gives us the 12 days of Christmas. So from December 25th until January 6th, but for our diocese, this feast is transferred to the nearest Sunday. So we celebrated the Epiphany this past Sunday. But we continue to reflect upon this image in the manger scene. Actually, the whole concept of images is something that comes about through the Incarnation. Before, it was never allowed to have images because the people would be inclined to actually believe that these physical objects were actually gods. But when the coming of Christ, we know that the invisible God that we cannot see became visible. And therefore images of Jesus and Mary and Joseph and stuff are actually possible and are extremely helpful actually in drawing us deeply into the mysteries of the Incarnation. Now, the Eastern wing of the Church, we know there's a Western and kind of an Eastern sense of the Catholic Church. These beautiful traditions that are like two lungs, as John Paul II spoke about, that breathe, that they actually have a very powerful sense of images, oftentimes in what are called icons. Icons are like these windows to the divine, a sacramental of sorts, like a rosary or something some religious object that we have that bring us deeply into it. We would think of statues. But these icons are very powerful and beautiful places of prayer. This past New Year's Day, as we celebrate the Feast of Mary, Mother of God, I introduced to you a very precious gift. Let's go look at her now. Our Lady of Kazan is the image that is before you. It's actually something that was given to the parish. A very special, valuable gift. Very old. It was purchased in Bethlehem by a couple who just felt called by the Lord to have her. And they decided to place her in a place where so many people could come and pray. And our church happens to be the beautiful gift recipient of this generosity. The paperwork of the image speaks about it coming from St. Petersburg, Russia, a museum there, perhaps as old as the 18th century. But a very precious image. I'm so amazed at the face of Mary. It just draws you into her kindness and her love. Now this image is an image, as I said, of Our Lady of Kazan. The original image, which this is modeled after, was a miraculous icon, believed by tradition to be found actually by a child that was given visions of Mary, encouraging this child to go and to look into the rubble as there was a time of war and find in the rubble of the church this image, and the child did. It was moved later to right across from the Kremlin, and Mary was given the title of the protection of Russia through this image. Well, when Russia became communist, this image then was sold actually and ended up in the hands of the Blue Army. The Blue Army is a special group associated with Fatima, and this image was placed then in Fatima. Ironically then, this image of the protection of Russia was at the very place where Mary had invited the faithful to pray for the conversion of Russia. Well, this image was later transferred not too long ago, I think it was 2004, back to Russia, back to the homeland, so to speak. So this image is really special in many ways. Maybe this image will actually be a source of many miracles, as the original image of Our Lady of Kazan was. So it's for us. Now we just have to decide. If you have any ideas, let me know of where she should be in our church. But this treasure definitely deserves a good place where we can come and pray and be drawn deeper into the mysteries of Christ and His incarnation, as images can so powerfully do. There's so much to look forward to, I think, in this year ahead. Happy New Year. I'm very excited. I think there's so much hope as we know that we'll move back into being together in more profound ways, to continue the great things that we were doing. But I'm also excited for new things as well. In fact, part of this excitement is based in a very profound reality and a movement that is taking place within our church. Something I want to tell you about this coming weekend as we celebrate the baptism of the Lord. So please do come to Mass or live stream, and I want to share then with you some of the reason for my hope and excitement as we enter into this new year. Thank you so much for just being part of my life and the life of this parish over this past year, and let us have some awesome times and beautiful graces in the year to come with the Lord's blessing. Take care.